go. We are so back, baby. So over the last few weeks, CrossFit has made a few announcements about the CrossFit Games coming up next month, and I am getting so excited. I'm trying to pump the brakes a little bit because I think I might be overreacting. So the two announcements they've made, number one, there's going to be 20 events at the CrossFit Games this year. Number two, one of the workouts is going to be pulled from a hopper. Now, both of these things could be super cool, but I'm also concerned that A, I'm overreacting, or B, that they're going to mess it up. So let's start with the fact that there's going to be 20 events at the CrossFit Games this year. For reference, the most there's ever been was 15 in 2021, and that felt like it was a bad beatdown. Adding 33% more to that seems like it's a lot. My guess is that they're not going to do like 20 CrossFit Metcons or max lifts. There's going to have to be something that's going to be like combine style. Think NBA or NFL combine, where there's a couple of events that are all kind of easy on the body, and they do them kind of like rapid succession, like all in one session. And this combine style is where I think there could be some potential for it to not live up to my expectations. Before we get into that, there actually has been combine style events at the CrossFit Games before. In 2010 and 2011, there was a max time L-sit, max distance handstand walk where you only get one attempt. There was a softball throw, a GHD med ball toss for distance, a max strict pull-up, and I think one or two others that I can't remember off the top of my head. So there have been combine-style events at the CrossFit Games before. Now, what I personally am concerned about with these combine-style events is what events they're going to choose. So everyone I've heard talk about this has like this huge hard-on for broad jumps, like a standing broad jump. And personally, I don't think that's that cool of an event. And to think a standing broad jump would be worth the same amount of points as a traditional CrossFit Metcon is kind of crazy. So it just depends on what movements they choose to do if they're going to do a combine style. You also have the thing of some of these could make such a good storyline. Like a max reps bench at 225 would be so interesting to see because we have like a baseline for what we see NFL players do. So if we were to see the CrossFit Games athletes do it, it would be really cool to see. But also the softball would be really interesting to see because there's probably some Games athletes that can't even throw a softball at all or very well, which would be also cool to see. And if you can't throw a softball, then you probably shouldn't get the title of fittest on earth. But some people think that's corny, and I don't agree. But so there's just like a lot of ideas that could be really cool for the combine. But again, if they just do 20 Metcons, that will be too much in my opinion. Okay, now let's move on to the hopper. So CrossFit announced that one of the events of the 20 is going to be pulled out of a hopper. So if you don't know what this is, early on in CrossFit, Greg Glassman, when he was first coming up with the idea of CrossFit, he basically said your fitness is your ability to do any amount of random tasks. So if you want to know how fit you are, or if you want to be fit, then what you should seek to do is to be ready for anything that could get pulled out of a hopper. So you know those things that they do like bingo in where they mix up the balls and then they pull a random one out? Imagine you were to do that with an infinite amount of physical tasks, put it in the hopper and pull it out. And if you're fit, you should be ready for whatever comes out, whether it's a 1-rep max or a marathon run or anything that comes out, any physical task you should be ready for. And this is kind of like the essence of CrossFit. And so hearing that one of the events this year is going to come out of a hopper is so cool. Now, if you didn't know, they've actually used the hopper once before at the games, and it was the very, very first CrossFit Games in 2007. They pulled the very first CrossFit Games workout out of a hopper. It was a 1,500-meter row and then 5 rounds of 7 push jerks and 25 pull-ups. They just pulled that out of a hopper. And so they announced this year that one of the events, they're going to pull out a hopper and they're just going to pull out random things, and that's the event they're going to do. So Dave Castro went on Sevon's podcast last night and was answering some of the questions about the hopper, and he basically said, if we've already done that movement and it comes out of the hopper, guess what? We're doing it again. And he said, basically, who knows what's going to come out of the hopper, which so cool. Then he says that whatever they pull out of the hopper, they're going to pull movements and stuff out of the hopper. Then he's going to give it to someone that he didn't announce, and they're going to program the event, which is so cool. And I've heard there's been speculation that it's going to be Greg Glassman, which would be just like such a full circle moment if 6 years after he sells the company, he goes on and writes a workout for the 20th anniversary of the CrossFit Games. I mean, how cool would that be? So I am all for the hopper, and it really feels like classic CrossFit. And one of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately is how a lot of the times I remember more the workout and the story behind the workout than I do the workout itself when it comes to CrossFit. Like without the hopper and without the methodology of CrossFit is kind of just like functional fitness races, which I could give less of about. So the stories behind it is really cool. Like in 10 years, I'm going to remember, oh, that workout came out of the hopper. I'm not going to remember, oh, so-and-so won that workout in 2026. This is really what makes me excited about CrossFit. This feels like CrossFit to me. And in the past, they've done a lot of stuff like this. In 2014, I believe, they corralled everybody in the locker room at the games and wouldn't let them know what was coming. They've had chaos where nobody knew what they were doing next, so they found out the workout as they were doing it on the floor. They did the marathon row, which was just like completely out of nowhere. Like, this is really what CrossFit is and like hypes me up. This is the vibes I love. And so I am so excited for this year's games, and I'm trying not to get too excited because I feel like I'm overreacting. Like, it feels like we're back. And if CrossFit keeps going like this and I have this much excitement, ooh. So I would love to know your thoughts. Am I just a nerd and I'm overreacting? Are they going to butcher some of this and do like weird events for the combine? And is the hopper cool, or is it just like dumb and gimmicky? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Peace.